Greetings and welcome, fellow battle mages. Today we are going to have a look at the roguelike VR sword and sorcery battle simulator that is Blade and Sorcery, coming right up after this short intro sequence.
Hi. Hello. I'm here to talk about your car's extended warranty. I'm here to talk about your car's extended warranty.
Greetings and welcome, fellow mages. Now, this is a game that's been going on for a long time in development, and I first bought this game many years ago when it was nothing more than just a simple VR wave beat 'em up with a little bit of magic and a little bit of sword thrown into action. And over the years it has gone through many different iterations. So let's dust off the old hat, shall we, and get into it. Okay, so what has happened with this game over the years? When I first started playing this, it was, as I said, I remember being multiple different starts. First off, it was like in a tower, and you just got like loads of people that come at you, and you just had to pick your weapons and pick your magic. And they only had like simple basic magic to begin with. But over the years, it has gone through a whole new set of well, it's got a storyline, it's got a career progression, it's got a magic path progression, and as you fight with all the different weapons, you can buy different, better higher tier 3 weapons. Now, firstly, I want to say that there is two versions out of this. One that most people would think that I'm talking about is Blade and Sorcery Nomad, which is on the Quest store. But that doesn't contain the storyline, the full gameplay of it. It just has, it's like the mini version of Blade and Sorcery. Now, the full proper Blade and Sorcery with storyline, with career progression, with magic progression, and also buying everything, that's all on Steam. Now, the Blade and Sorcery that's on Steam, as I said, it does have a lot of other options that the Nomad on the Quest doesn't have. But if you've got the Quest, or Quest 1, 2 or 3, and you can connect it to a decent PC, you can still play the Steam version with your Quest headset, like what I've been doing. And I am absolutely loving this game. This game really is quite awesome. Now, I mean, I started off with no magic, and just to see how far that I could get without any magic, and try and see if I could learn magic as I went through. And I got my ass handed to me again and again and again. Yeah, it was quite a difficult startup. I might try to revisit it, so I kind of scrapped that character and started over from scratch with just a lightning spell. Now, the reason that I wanted to use lightning spell is because another thing about this game is that you can mix and match up the weapons with magic. So, for instance, like the bow and arrows, if you're using like a bow and arrow, and you have fire attributed assigned to the arrows, then they have extra piercing damage. They will penetrate through armor far easier. Or my personal favourite is if you have electric or lightning attached to it, then they sort of get drawn to the enemy. They became homing arrows. And yeah, that's what I used to try and shoot all the people on the map. I was going like one, two, three. You can basically clear a field with just like the bow and arrow, as long as you're using like the lightning attribute, because it will just home into all the enemies and kill them outright when they don't realise you're there. But as the level gets harder, you get more and more difficult enemies. So the first enemies at the very start, they don't have much in the way of armour. But as later on you get metal plate, you got leather armour, metal plate, or the eye, which is supposed to be real tough, full plate armour that is really hard to penetrate. But there are ways around it, especially like when you grab them by the heads and just pump fire magic into them. And yeah, whilst I was playing the storyline, not only did the story progress, but I found more and more interesting ways of using combinations to attack enemies. At first, I found myself sort of like evolving along with this game. For a start, I found that the most simple and easiest way of killing an enemy was to run up with them with a short sword, stabbing them in the stomach. I'll then apply fire element to it so that it will start piercing through the armor to make it a lot more effective. But then, as I said, I grew and found that the bow and arrows would work. But then, when the arrows work, I would have to. When the arrows would run out or they getting too close, I had to revert to swords. And then I start finding that my own spells were actually quite useful. As I said, grabbing someone, you can't just go straight to doing particular spells. You've got to level up your spells. For instance, each characteristic, you've got fire, you've got electricity, you've got gravity, and then you've got mind, and then you've got body. And each one of these levels, each one of these characteristics, you can level up by one crystal by defeating a golden boss to get the next level up crystal. And that will unlock other abilities, such as I said, the hand grab, where I could grab onto someone and pour pure magical energy into them, basically burning them alive or electrocuting them. However, going through this, I started finding that that certain weapons had bonus spells that are assigned to them. For example, when you managed to get 3 fire crystals, you could get a staff. I know I use this. You could get a staff, apply a fire spell to the staff, and then the staff will then shoot out jets of flames constantly, making it absolutely perfect for close quarter combat. So yeah, whilst at the beginning I started just by like running at people, stabbing them with short swords, and then near the end, after going through an iteration of using throwing knives, homing arrows, a wide variety of different spells, and trying off a few different pieces of a few different weapons and swords, I finally decided to settle on the good old staff. And although I couldn't really hit people with the staff as I would do normally, I found that, just like I said, applying the magic, if I stamp it on the ground, basically just grab it and then just whack it down on the ground, it'll spew out homing fireballs to anyone in the range, basically killing a lot of people that are around you. It was great if you're surrounded by people, or as I said with the fire spell, just basically holding it out and just flooding the area with fire. And if you're a Dresden fan, you'll be showing out fuego as you're doing it as well. But yeah, sorry, curtain rail, in case you're wondering. I've been meaning to put this curtain rail up for some time, and yeah, I've been using it as a sort of a walking stick. When I had my back issues, I kind of used it as a temporary walking stick. And people call me the wizard because I've been walking around at work with a curtain rail. The curtain wizard, yeah. But yeah, about weapons. Weapons in general, each weapon has their own way of being used. I mean, keep in mind, this is a VR game, so it's not like you just press the swing button and you swings. You have to learn to use each weapon as they are intended to be used. And I personally went for a shorter weapon because a short sword was much more easier to use, such as, well, let's grab something over here. Okay, I've got a metal pole here. So if you had like a very long weapon and you just grabbed it with one hand, it would like flop all over the place. And then again, and sorry, didn't mean to. But yeah, if you grabbed it with like two hands and then you swung very fast, it will still flop all over the place. So you will have to grab it with two hands and swing it slowly. And I found that quite annoying and really hard to use. So I found I'll get like a short weapon, because a short weapon is very much in control. You can use a short weapon with one hand and it's far easier to just stab people with it. And as well as if you put a fireball onto it and then just stab it, it'll go right through all their armour as well, to make their armour practically useless. So I basically went for a very short sword that I kept as my hip sword, that if ever had like an emergency, if I ever needed an emergency, I just quickly pull it out and like stab people that are coming up close. Or if I get a few moments, just put a fireball onto it just to heat it up, just so I could like stab a few people around. Or there was the hatchet, which was like a very small axe, one-handed axe, that you could just basically whack people over the head with, and it'll take them out quite quickly. But later on in the game, I actually did go for a mace, a very heavy-duty tier 3 mace, which I keep down at the side. But yeah, my main weapon there in that case was like a bow on one side. I'll keep a large quiver of arrows on my back, a staff on my right side, and a mace on my left. So therefore, I could just like pull out the bow. Right. At the beginning, I used to have this side as at the beginning I used to have like loads of different pouches for arrows all over. So it was just like bow, arrow quiver, and sword. But I got rid of the second arrow quiver and moved the arrow quiver down to here, and I could then keep a staff up there. But yeah, sorry, I'm like blabbering on about the sort of gameplay I used, because it was really quite a versatile game. It gives you the tools, it gives you the enemies, it gives you the spells to use, and yeah, it's pretty fun, pretty versatile, and you can just play it to your own sort of style. Where if you want to be swinging around giant massive weapons slowly and methodically, or if you want to be like stabby with smaller weapons, or even throwing weapons and then just apply homing spells to it to make it track your enemies. Or there are the super spells. Now in my gameplay so far, I've only managed to unlock one super spell, which I call the Meteor. So basically, when you get all 3 crystals for fire, you can open up one fireball in one hand, one fireball in the other, merge them together, pull them apart just slightly, and you create a massive spell that, when you launch, it's like a giant flaming meteor. Well, maybe not too big, but it impacts and does a massive amount of damage to a wide area. And yeah, it is good for clearing out areas, but they are kind of hard to pull off. I mean, each I did actually play around with the super spells with another character that I just unlocked full just to see what they have to offer. And you've got like super spells for like for all three of the pathways. So you've got fire, lightning and gravity are the three main spells, and you can like mix and match them, such as like if you have fire and gravity, you make a black hole or something, or lightning and gravity, that's a lightning tempest or something. What was gravity and gravity? I can't remember if that did actually anything, or was that the black hole? Gravity and gravity was probably the black hole. What's fire and gravity? I can't remember. But I know one of my favourites was fire and lightning, which created a massive laser beam which spat fire everywhere, and that was pretty kind of fun. That was fun. I had a lot of fun with that. One of the things that I do like was the golem battle, and oh boy, the golem battle with something. I mean, you're walking up to this. I mean, for the first time, you're walking into a massive room and you're feeling like dread, wondering what the heck's going on. And then all of a sudden you see this massive, giant stone statue yell at you. And yeah, in VR, this is next level stuff. This was really quite an awesome fight, because imagine playing the Shadow of the Colossus, right? Now, you play in Shadow of the Colossus, you have to climb up the golem to hit certain parts of its body whilst it's attacking you and whilst it's fighting you. Now imagine that in VR, and you've got the golem battles which are in this game. And not only that, but it does have a small little parkour area. I mean, around the outside edge you can like running around, jumping onto lampshades and then swinging across to the other path, which I found is actually very fun to do in VR. And then there's the climbing. You have to like climb up certain routes to get to certain ledges to destroy the hidden control crystals, which shield certain crystals on the golem. And then when the golem gets knocked down or comes up, you do a flying hero jump onto the back of the Colossus, miss completely, and then fall flat on the floor, which is what I had to do like 9 times out of 10. Every time that I actually do land on the golem, I end up missing the actual target or getting thrown off shortly thereafterwards. But yeah, the golem battles are awesome, and I do love it. The first time that I played the golem battle, it was without any powers or without any magic, and like I said, I just got my heart handed to me, and I just kept on losing, which I found was really annoying, considering when you die in this game, you reset the entire map. So you could be spending like 10, 20, 30 minutes wandering through the map, like collecting all the loots and killing all the people and doing everything that you need to do. But if you die once, you lose everything. It is really quite hard in that aspect. And I do wish that there was like a sort of a save point right before the golem battles. Because yes, if you are not prepared, if you don't know what you're doing, you will die. Because they are kind of hard at first. But then once you start knowing what you're doing, it does get a little bit better. And then the golem levels up. Each time that you defeat the golem or do the golem boss, you can get a crystal. And you use that crystal to level up your spells. So once you defeat the golem, you get a base crystal, and then you take it to a pedestal, and then with the pedestal you can then choose what of the 6 elements you want. Like I said, I think it's 6. You want fire, lightning, gravity, mind, and body. Sorry, not 6, 5. I think those are the 5. And yeah, so once you choose one of those, you get treated to a nice spectacular light show, some decent music, and then you have to find the teleporter to the exit and you're done. But I must admit, I really am impressed with that lighting show and the music that it comes up with. Once I like stood there when I first won my first battle and put it in there. I like watching it. I was going, God, give me power beyond power, like Eye of Fundera, give me sight beyond sight. Eye of this golem, give me power beyond power. It was really intensifying. And I loved every moment of it. I really did love every moment of that. And yes, I am going to still continue playing this game even after this, because it also has mods. Let's talk about the mods, shall we? We have got some really awesome mods. Now, I'm not just talking about the odd mod that allows you to make colour changing lightsabers, which is good. But you've got full-blown mods out there that change everything, everything about the game. And one of the mods that I downloaded was this Star Wars game. I think it was like Star Wars Edge Runner or something like that. And it basically like gives you a jetpack. You start flying stormtroopers, and you've got lightsabers and blasters and all sorts of weapons that you find in the Star Trek universe, and you've got several maps from like the Star Trek universe as well. And Star Trek? Not Star Trek. Sorry, Star Wars. Gotta get my names right. But yeah, it wasn't Star Trek, it was Star Wars. Yeah, so sorry if I said any of that wrong earlier. But yeah, so I am going to have a look at some of the mods, and I think they're quite impressive. There is also a multiplayer mod out there as well, so you can actually play the storyline with other people, or probably more or less just like the arena fights. I don't know, I'll have to look into that and find out. So I will be doing a little bit of review on some of the mods that are coming out on this channel as well. But yeah. Yep, so that's this game. I think it is an absolutely awesome game. I give it a full exploding fireball out of 10. And yeah, that just shows you how awesome I think this game is. It is great. I certainly do recommend it. Like I said, there is a very cut down version on the Quest called Blade and Sorcery Nomad. Sorry. Not to be mixed up with this game. If you do get a chance, I definitely recommend it. Well, thanks very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I've done in playing it and making it. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys out there.